So how does Season 4 measure up compared to the other three? Well, in order to answer that, there are a few things we need to consider. What did this season do that the others didn't? How many good and bad episodes were there? What progression did the characters make? And what did each of the writers do? The first question is pretty easy to answer. This was the first season to feature story arcs. And there was also much more of a focus on continuity this season, the most obvious example being the reference to bridal gossip in Philly Vanilli. Of the two arcs we had this season, I felt one worked and the other didn't. And while I don't think being part of the Equestria Game story arc took anything away from the respective episodes that were part of it, it certainly didn't add anything to them either. In terms of good and bad episodes, on a purely subjective level, I would say that this season had 5 episodes that were a proper reminder to me of why I love this show. Only one that I would actually go as far to say I wish I hadn't watched. 10 that I enjoyed for the most part, 6 that I didn't enjoy for the most part, and 2 which I'd probably have to say I'm indifferent towards. When you compare this season's truly great and truly awful episode records to the other 3, it seems to shape up as arguably the best season so far. However, a much more black and white, liked-disliked record shows it to be inferior to the first 2, though not by much, and a clear improvement on the previous one. Though you have to keep in mind that I have only re-watched a handful of episodes from the first 3 seasons in the last few months, and of course this is entirely based on my own opinion and nothing else. The CMC have certainly had some awesome development this season, with some real growth and maturity, and aside from one line at the end of Flight to the Finish, I don't think they've even mentioned their cutie marks this season. And even that was mostly just meant as a joke. Though I do kind of wonder, if even the writers are tired of this arc, why don't they just frickin' end it and give them their cutie marks already? Twilight started using her wings a bit more during the latter part of this season, and while personally I wasn't bothered by the lack of change to her life despite her now being a princess, I did enjoy what princess stuff we actually did see. Not too over the top, and Twilight didn't seem fazed by it either, which is why her attitude in the season finale annoyed me so much. By the way, to the people with this idea that Twilight princesshood was deliberately downplayed during the season in order to set up the season finale, I think that's stretching further than Elastigirl and Reed Richards combined. Some of the side characters got some great development this season, like Discord and Big Mac. Others, like the Wonderbolts, not so much. There was a vast array of writers this season, 13 to be exact, 5 of which were new to the show. So it was pretty impressive how there seemed to be a fairly consistent flow throughout the season. Things never seemed inconsistent or incoherent from one episode to the next. Also, did you notice that all 5 key episodes were written by a different writer? The only slightly odd things about the writing I saw this season were the way that the whole of the main cast were forced into stories where they weren't really needed a lot of the time, a large number of instances where Spike became the focus only to then disappear for the rest of the episode, and some of the ordering of the episodes, like 2 Fluttershy episodes in the space of 2 weeks and back-to-back Spike episodes. Dave Polsky certainly emerged as a far better writer this season. The only real letdown for me was Daring Don't. Say what you want about what Equestria Games could have been and all the things that it didn't do, I don't see how you can fault Polsky's writing of it for that. Ed Valentine seems to be shaping up as a more slow-paced kind of writer, which I actually kind of like. The large amount of dialogue and exposition in Three's a Crowd was not the problem for me. The problem was the lack of a payoff. Natasha Levenger, on the other hoof, seems to be a writer who is good at coming up with interesting ideas, but may struggle at times to turn them into an engaging story. I think she might be better off co-writing episodes in future. Meanwhile, Josh Haber and Scott Sonnenborn haven't really done anything that's made me really think much so far. Haber in particular looks to be playing things very safe. But the writer that completely stole the show this season was Amy Keaton Rogers. 3 complete home run episodes. Not since Fall Weather Friends have I seen writing this good from her. As someone that actually wasn't bothered by Pinky and Philly Vanilli, I'd say that the ending to Testing 1, 2, 3 was the only thing she did wrong this season. Season 4 for me was an improvement on the previous one, but still not quite up to the standards of the first 2, though it wasn't far off. I hope you've enjoyed me taking you through the episodes over the last 6 months. If you've missed any of them, you can find them all in this playlist. Finally, I'd just like to thank a few people who've helped me out in reviewing the episodes this season.
We've traveled the road of generations,